Towards the end of the 90-day breakthrough challenge, we had an experiment. And this was my experiment, to plant a couple of seeds and water them every day. I don't know how many of you were able to participate. I can see several of you who participated. And I remember the initial 12 days when I kept watering this can and nothing seemed like was happening. No signs from looking at the soil itself. It didn't seem like there was anything changing. Every single day it looked the same. And I had the goal of watering it to just about a fifth. As long as I saw the water rise up to a fifth of the container, I will stop there. And every single day I just dropped in a little bit of water every day. Until on day 11, I saw part of the soil begin to bulge upwards. And then suddenly, I saw one of these initial ones, I saw it begin to burrow through the soil and emerge on the surface. And gradually, here now we have most of the seeds that I planted, not all of them, and I mean that's how it works. It's not everything you do that ends up bearing fruit, but most of the seeds I planted, as long as I gave them the right environment, they actually germinated. You know what I was thinking about today? What can I do if I had another set of seeds today? What can I do to make those seeds the same age as these seedlings? Is there anything I can do today? If I have the seeds, I have the soil, I have the water, I have everything. Is there anything I can do for the seeds that remained in the bag to also give me seedlings of this size? There's absolutely nothing I can do. Nothing can convert those seeds into seedlings of this size. Which means what I was unable to do on that day, if I had wanted to plant more seeds and I did not, whatever I left undone remains permanently undone. And even if I do it today, I don't get to catch up. Nothing I plant today can catch up with these seedlings. As long as I continue to nurture these seedlings, providing them with what they need, protecting them, making sure they have access to water and nutrients and light, these seedlings have already initiated a process that will continue, and no other seedling that I try to create today can catch up to this. And I think this is the reality of our everyday. That the habit I did not start building in 2015, there is nothing I can do to catch up to 2015. There is no catching up. You don't get to catch up. You get to start where you are. And if I don't start where I am right now, there is no catching up. If I lose this day, I've lost it. If I lose tomorrow, I lose it. I don't get to catch up. There is nothing I can do. I have a full bag of bean seeds. There is nothing I can do for those bean seeds to catch up with what these seedlings have done. Now, you see, the amazing thing is that there is not much that has happened here. Nothing has happened here. This is less than 5 weeks so far. Since I started the process, it's less than 5 weeks. But in those 5 weeks, there is no catching up. What has already germinated and began forming roots is already in the process that has already been initiated. All I have to do is maintain it. We don't get to catch up on what we leave undone. We don't get to catch up on what we skip. If it's building new habits, setting new goals, starting new routines, changing direction, beginning to transform our mind, our attitude, our body, our skills, whatever it is, if we miss the opportunity for planting, we lose with it the time that opportunity could have come with. that just by the virtue of the fact that 3 weeks ago I planted these seedlings, I caught the value of time from that moment on. So that tiny seed is now something so significant. In fact, these are the seeds. This is not just multiplication, this is compounding. That tiny seed has now become a full stalk that has roots all the way down, and look at where it's aiming. Naturally, it's aiming upward. Now, the reality is that these seedlings are still very fragile. For example, this one has bent just because I held it. They're still very fragile. And sometimes we plant seeds of new habits, plant seeds of new goals, and before they even have proper roots, before they are fully mature, we already begin to flaunt them before the world. And of course, the world breaks them apart. I believe that the season we are living in, with so much distraction and yet with so much opportunity too, our responsibility is to protect our most important resources, our time, our energy and attention, and be intentional to plant on time, to not lose the opportunity to plant on time, so that as progress accelerates, we don't lose the opportunity to compound the growth that time brings, so that in no time we go from a teen like this one to a full grown plantation. Because if I take care, these are 7 seeds. If I take care of these seeds, these seedlings now, I take care of them until they are fully grown and I reap from all of them. And I take all those seeds and I want to go to plant them. I am going to need a full garden. I'm going to need a full garden. But that future garden is impossible without the initial action of planting at the time I needed to plant this one. My question to you this morning is, if you could plant one essential, crucial thing, whether it's an action or a habit or a choice or a project or a goal, if you could plant only one today, which one would it be for you? And are you willing to be intentional to not miss the opportunity to put it in the soil? I am just so grateful that my only job is to put it in the soil and water it. And somebody else takes care of how does it grow. Can you imagine if you had to grow this seed into a seedling? Sit there and start building every cell. Figure out which one forms the leaf, which one forms the stalk, which one goes to the root. Our work is actually very straightforward and very simple. Our work is to plant and protect, plant and avail the nourishment that is required to the seedling, which is the same thing with any habit, any goal. I do not know how the goal will change me. I don't know who it's going to touch. I don't know what doors my goals are going to open. And it would be an impossible task for me to try to anticipate all those eventualities. Somebody else takes care of the growth of the seedling. All I have to do is just plant it, and then it germinates, and I just keep supplying it with nutrients and water, making sure it has access to sunlight. If I need to put a string here or a pole for it to be supported, I do that. My work is very easy. Your work is actually the easy part. The easy part of just showing up and doing your little bit. Who is going to provide you the resources? You don't know. But when they show up with the resources, will you have a place for them to invest those resources? Who is going to open doors for you? You don't know. When they come and open those doors, will you be ready? Who is going to support you? Who is going to challenge you so that you face the obstacle as a way for you to become stronger? You don't know. When they show up, will they bring to you a challenge that is supposed to grow you? But because you have been caught into the habit of start, stop, you will start and then you give up and you miss out on the growth that should have come from that frustration, from that obstacle, from that challenge. So that the training, the toughening up, the expansion that could have happened, you miss out on it. My challenge to you this morning is very simple. Don't miss your opportunity to plant. Figure out what is this one thing that if you planted today, 10 years from today, you would be so grateful you planted. Don't miss your opportunity to plant. Everything begins with the decision to plant. Plant that goal, plant the dream, plant the decision, plant the project, plant the skill you want to learn, plant that relationship, plant that expansion you want to expand, or the way you want to stretch. Only you know what it is you need to plant. Do not miss the opportunity to put it in the soil. If you miss the opportunity to put it in the soil, you will not have an opportunity to catch up tomorrow. You will get an opportunity to start tomorrow one day late, maybe 1 week late, 1 month late. I know there are areas in my life where I am several years late. But I pray that that is the only lateness I will ever have to deal with, so that going forward, I do not have to count 10 years. I count less than that. That's because I choose to be intentional, to just plant. Now, the act of planting itself is very easy. But because it's easy to do, it's also easy not to do, as Jim Rohn liked to say. And that is the truth about everything else in our lives. What's easy to do becomes easy not to do. It's easy to read a book, but it's also easy not to read a book. It's easy to wake up in the morning and do 10 push-ups, but it's also easy not to do 10 push-ups when you wake up in the morning. It's easy to start speaking to customers, especially when we get our mind out of the way, but it's also easy not to do it. It's easy to start learning the skill because you are not starting as a master, you're just starting from the beginning and see how far you can go. But it's also easy not to do it. And when we fail to start the easy thing, start it small, start with what we have, start where we are, start with what we know, we miss the opportunity to put the seed in the soil. When we don't put the seed in the soil, the seed has no opportunity to germinate. Part of the challenge we had, those of you who took up this project, is to not only plant, but to actually show up and lay eyes on your seeds every single day. To come to wherever you planted and just take a look, do something about it every single day. And this is supposed to remind me and remind you that our work is very easy. All we have to do is to plant the goal, plant the dream, plant the desire, plant the vision, but we have to show up there consistently. If we plant and walk away, we'll come back and find the weevils have eaten everything. We'll come and find the wind has broken everything. We'll come and find the sun has scorched it all. So once I make the decision, once you make the decision to plant your goal today, plant your dream, plant your vision, plant the book you want to write, plant the business you're reaching out for. Once you plant, then you have to show up there every day, knowing that even if sometimes it feels like you are doing the heavy lifting, you are not. Somebody else is growing these seedlings. And that is the hardest part of it. Balancing, figuring out how many roots, how deep should these roots go, balancing what we call the gravitropic and phototropic growth. Phototropic, the growth upwards, the gravitropic, the growth downward. So that the balance of this growth makes sure that this growing seedlings are supported, they are nourished, so that their height is balanced by an equivalent extensive root network. Because otherwise, if it grows just upwards and it has no roots, it will become very unstable. It cannot support itself. I hope you choose to plant what you need to plant today, so that you will not have to worry about catching up. You will just worry about maintaining, showing up every day and maintaining what you need to maintain, continuing to nourish what you need to nourish.